Hello, and on today's episode, I'm here with Nick Gogerty of SolarCoin. How are you today?
I'm fine, Jason. Thanks for inviting me on the show.
Oh, yes, of course. So you could tell me a little bit about the problems that SolarCoin is trying to solve here.
Sure. SolarCoin was designed to incentivize global solar energy for the next 40 years. So basically to accelerate the transition to solar energy. For those in your audience who aren't aware, solar energy is on an incredible cost performance curve shift. So, 8 years ago, putting panels up on your roof may have cost, let's say, $7 per watt, right? Just to throw out a number. Now that price is about 35 cents per watt. Solar energy has like a Moore's law to it. Everything we manufacture actually does. So basically what we're looking at doing is we give SolarCoin away as a free reward token for the verified production of energy to accelerate that transition to solar energy. And we do that in 68 countries. And we're looking at some pretty interesting inflection point of the project, and I can go into that.
And so is this available to kind of the average person, or these the large kind of solar farms?
Yeah, no, it's the average person, ideally. And so we started out as a very community project 4 years ago. People would upload their personal documentation, we'd review it, and then issue tokens. And you can kind of imagine as a proof of energy generation as the circulation mechanism. The coin itself actually is now proof of stake, but we issue the most circulation due to proof of energy generation. Now, this sounds highly inflationary to a lot of people. I'll get into the economics of that. It's part of my background. But yeah, anybody could participate. This year, we are partnering with and looking to scale. So anybody who looks at this token or coin right now on CoinMarketCap, it disappears, right? It's somewhere in the hundreds on the list with this tiny market cap of a couple $1 million. We're okay with that because it's actually tracking according to our model. It's tracking relative to our valuation model. For context on that, I've worked with the world's largest hedge fund. I'm an author, Ivy League author on macroeconomics and innovation, Columbia University. Also have been a quantitative Forex dealer and analyst. Our project right now has a small community of, we estimate about 4,500 to 5,000 people. We've partnered with the world's largest solar energy monitoring platform that'll put us in front of 300,000 people. Our economic model says that the value of our network scales as the function of people who participate and the value of our token. And frankly, that's research that we've done across 50 existing fiat currencies, gold and Bitcoin. And that's part of an academic paper that we'll be publishing later on. Right now, people in our community are just taking a look at it.
So what made you choose the blockchain for the system?
Sure. Well, first of all, 4 years ago, I didn't really understand how currency worked until 4 years ago, or have a theory for it. And that's because traditional economics doesn't have a theory for value of currency. There's a bunch of junk out there on velocity. There are some old phrases, medium of exchange, unit of account, etc. Those are primarily junk and non-falsifiable at an academic level and at the practitioner's level. I recognize that currency is an interesting positive economic externality that you can apply to anything you want. And what I mean by that is currency is a function of the number of people who participate in it. The more people who participate and engage, the more interesting it becomes. Bitcoin, case in point, estimated 30 plus million people participating, 120 billion cap. It's about $4K per node, $4,000 per participant. And that's pretty much in the range for most currencies. So I decided to apply this positive externality of currency to something I thought we could probably use more of. I came up with a list of 3 things: healthcare, education, and energy. Thesis being, no one ever accuses a culture or country of having too much education, too much energy, too much healthcare. And then I'm lazy and I like to make things that work, that are very simple. So I went with energy, it's easy to measure. And then I went with solar. Solar because it's growing exponentially quickly. It is the fastest growing source of energy globally. It's cheaper right now than any fossil fuel in probably 30 to 40 countries, according to International Renewable Energy Association. So it's interesting and it has network dynamics. I need to grow a network to grow the value of my currency, and anybody can participate with panels on the roof. With wind or other renewable forms, the average wind farm now is, a $100 or $200 million project. You'd have a very small network of participants. There are about probably 15 to 18 million solar producers in the world. Every one of them could become a participant for us. I mentioned scale earlier and about how we're going for scale this year. We've partnered with the world's largest energy monitoring platform that puts us in front of 6% of global solar energy production. We have partners, affiliate partners, who help us distribute in multiple countries. And our pipeline looks like it's going to put us in front of potentially 10% of global solar energy. And again, it looks like a rewards currency, right? So it's given out for you produce energy, you get this free thing. So not everyone's going to sign up for it. But basically what will happen is people who have a monitoring platform, primarily, who produce solar energy, they'll get an email from this company and it'll say, hey, do you want to participate in this free reward program? Person clicks the terms and conditions, says yes, and we grow our network. We're looking right now at reaching out to major utilities globally. So that's our next goal, is to go for scale. My personal target is to be in front of 25 to 35% of global solar energy production in the next 2 to 3 years, which means, a whole nother level of business development, outreach, etc. In my spare time, I have advised the G20 on sustainable finance, the UN, the UNFCCC, UN Secretary General's office, etc., and occasionally, the occasional finance minister and energy minister in various countries. So again, a lot of people look at SolarCoin, kind of think it's a joke based on the volumes and where it's at in CoinMarketCap, and that. Let's just say that we don't think we'll be there for very long. We think it's going to be a very interesting project based on the parties we deal with and the partners we deal with.
So from the person who's producing the solar power, let's say I have some panels on my roof, how do I hook up with you guys?
Sure. Right now, you can just go to the website and put in some documentation. We don't resell the information. We're fully GDPR compliant. We treat SolarCoin as if it's a security, even though we have a U.S. legal opinion that it's not. So you put in your data, generate an address by getting a wallet. You can use the SPV client, like a lightweight Android or iPhone client called Coinami, or you can download the full Qt wallet, and run a full node and stake. And then every 6 months, you'll get SolarCoin for free based on your energy production. Right now, the price isn't super interesting for the average homeowner. Maybe you'll get a couple bucks. We think it will become very interesting. So sign up and go along for the ride.
And is this in addition to or replacing the money I might get from the power company?
Yeah, we view, we articulate when we talk to project managers, we've even talked to the European Union and regulators here in the States about this, it's independent. We view solar projects as having 3, let's say, revenue streams that come out of them, a black, a green, and an orange or yellow. The black stream is you selling your electricity or using it. The green stream is any environmental attribute you typically get, like carbon and SREC, renewable energy credit, feed-in tariffs, et cetera, et cetera. And the gold stream is totally independent. And that's just a solar coin, just a free extra thing you get. It's like air miles. You get them for, literally just sitting in the seat.
So what have been some of the challenges of developing the system?
The challenges are actually primarily in convincing the large utilities to join on board. So we had a major inflection point this January when we were at the World Future Energy Summit in Abu Dhabi. One of the world's largest solar producers and the owners of the world's largest solar plant signed on, and the world's largest solar monitoring platform signed on. So these are utility scale operations. So, the crypto space, everything, the rules change every 2 weeks, right? It's some new smart contract platform, some new whatever. We work in the utility monitoring space and utility platform space. And let's just say that the development cycles there are a little longer. So you have to be a little more patient.
And what blockchain is this coin on?
We basically forked Litecoin, then put a proof of stake algo in, proof of stake time consensus algo, and then threw in a message field from Florincoin. We keep it very, very simple because some of our guys are looking at using this for IoT apps to write things that are going on out in the field.
And so how does SolarCoin actually monetize itself? So I'm generating these coins from the panels, but where does the money kind of come from?
Sure. So, again, the traditional crypto community really doesn't like what we've done, but that's okay. We're here for a mission, 40-year solar energy mission. So what we did is we made a giant pre-mine, right? We made an estimate of 40 years of global solar energy production. And we pre-mined 98 billion coins. And 97.5 billion of those are set aside for solar energy generation in highly visible wallets labeled a reserve wallet in the Explorer. Every time someone produces a unit of energy, we send a transaction with a transaction message saying, hey, someone at this postal code generated this much energy from this period to that period. The other 500 million pre-mine coins are sitting there for founders and basically setting up the system, subject to one restriction. They can never circulate greater than 5% of the circulating economy. So right now, SolarCoin has 47.1 million coins in circulation. And so the way we monetize is by what we call the Genesis pool of those 500 million coins. Every time we issue one coin into circulation, potentially 0.05 or 5% becomes available for spend. To date, that has been used to pay devs and developers. Again, we don't really do marketing. We never did an ICO. We've been around for 4 years, and we're very patient rolling out with our partners. And fully GDPR compliant. We have a compliance person on staff for AML, KYC, et cetera. We need to be good actors because we know that as we scale, governments will come knocking and ask what we're up to, and we need to be fully transparent about that.
Energy usage around mining these cryptocurrencies has become a really big topic. Do you think that solar energy can really help this problem?
I don't know. I don't have an answer for that. I mean, our crude estimates on Bitcoin's resource use is somewhere between 3 to 5 billion. And basically that's just the marginal utility argument that, if there's a reward of X, someone will probably use X minus some percentage of resources to pursue it. The example being, if I tell you there's $1,000 worth of gold buried in your backyard, you'd probably be, if you had 100% certainty, willing to spend $950 on a backhoe to get it out. That being said, our system using proof of stake, our estimates are if we scaled to the same size as Bitcoin, we would use probably about $250,000 to $500,000 per year. So it's about 4 orders of magnitude more efficient. And that's in line with what a lot of our audience is interested in. Can solar energy help mining? Potentially, solar energy could be used for Bitcoin mining or Ethereum mining. We don't really kind of play in that game. So can't really comment on that.
So what are some of your plans for the future going forward?
Scale. We plan to grow the network significantly. We're trying to grow our network value by 20 to 50x. And that's by reaching out to more utilities and engaging more people. So we have a handle on our users. Users is something you don't hear much about in this space, ironically, in the crypto space or the dApp space. If people are interested in users, go check out a website called State of the dApps. And you can see how many users there are on an average daily basis for any Ethereum app. It's pretty insightful. We know what our user base is. We grow our network. If someone signs up for us, they're probably going to be there for 20 to 30 years for the life of their producing panel. And our targets are, to try and grow to, 1 million plus users from a very small base.
Well, it's a very interesting project. Is there anything I should have asked you that maybe I missed?
Not that I can think of. I mean, like I said, we are some pretty hardcore professional tech finance types. We have an economic theory behind the value of our token, which you really won't find with a lot of others. A lot of others have amazing computational software utility arguments. But when you ask about the economic value, it usually gets down to some velocity argument, which is pretty bogus. We don't really view ourselves as competing with other cryptocurrencies. We're very excited and happy to see, frankly, the pace of innovation in this space. I mean, a lot of the smart contracting platforms are very cool. The DAGs could be awesome for IoT once they get sorted out. The directed acyclic graphs like IOTA and Hashgraph, etc. So I guess that's about it, Jason.
Well, thank you so much for coming on the show.
No worries. Thank you.
Hello, if you like this episode and you want to hear more like it, please make sure you subscribe to the podcast. That way you'll get every single episode. The Talking Cryptocurrency podcast is available on all podcast clients. You can subscribe to the show on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Pocket Cast, Stitcher, Spotify, or wherever else you listen to podcasts. And if podcasts aren't your thing, I publish video versions of these interviews on YouTube and DTube, so you can subscribe there too. All the links to all that stuff is going to be in the show notes. So please, if you want to hear more of this show, subscribe.